Welcome back to In the Know. I'm David Kerr, and I'm here with Dempsey and with Kevin of Evolution Motorsport. And we are looking at as much of their operation as we possibly can today. One piece of their operation that really intrigues me, I think intrigues a lot of our viewers, is restoration, bringing a car back to life.
That's right.
Kevin has a cap on, which says Revenant on it, which literally means bring back something to life. And we are looking at a car right now. It's you referred to it as a kit car. It's a Cobra. It's a 1965. And tell me a little about the condition it was in before it got to this much more mature stage of restoration.
So the owners of this car are some wonderful people who had this stored for about 9 years, almost 10 years. They had some issues with it, just family issues, whatnot, and had it stored and didn't do too much with it. We pulled it out. It was under about an inch of dust, obviously, and cobwebs and whatnot, and the tires are flat. As you know, the gasoline was sour, the oil, and everything had to be changed. So went ahead and pulled it in, went and pulled the carburetor apart, drained all the oils, replaced all the oils, got all the tires serviced up, went through the entire car as much as we could to make sure it was safe, suspension-wise, grommet-wise, oil, pressure, spark plugs, fuel, everything you need to do to bring a car that's been sleeping for so long back to life, right? So what we're doing with this car is we actually are in the process of a very long restoration. But while we're doing that, we're allowing the customer to be able to come over and take it for a drive and enjoy it while we do the restoration. As you can see, the doors are off. We're getting the doors redone.
I love these seats.
Yes, they're factory bucket seats from the kit. The kit was made approximately in 2000. It is registered as a 65. Comes with a 351 Cleveland engine. Very fun to drive. The thing about this car is it's visceral. Everything about this car is in your face and screams a racing, enjoyment, power. We as Kevin and I, Kevin he loves the what we call. I'm a naturally aspirated guy.
Forced induction.
He's all about forced induction. Our wheelhouses are a bit different, but that's why we really mesh together very well. And he's starting to understand now what it feels like to be part of something that is so visceral and wide open. Corvettes are very modern. Every Corvette you see here is very modern. Very, injectors and,
yes,
and
we're going to look at one of those in just a minute.
That's correct. And it's very computer oriented. It's ran by computers. This is nothing like that at all. This is very simple: air, fuel, spark. That is it. And it is loud, and it is nasty, and it smells like fuel, and every person that gets near it wants to touch it and wants to be in it.
I am touching it, and I'm enjoying it. There's a tactile experience to this.
It very much is.
Well, we're going to go over and look at another restoration, because that seems to be a lot of what you do, is take cars back from the edge. No, it's not exclusively what you do. We're going to look at one that's a bit more modern.
Yes.
Quite a bit more high-tech.
Quite a bit.
So we'll be walking over in that direction. Let's have a look.
Terrific.
We were just looking at a technology that dates back almost 5 decades. Here we're looking at a technology that is much more advanced, much more sophisticated. It was ahead of its time when it's built, and I'm going to let Dempsey tell us a little about what we're looking at here. This is the other side of the equation, you might say.
All right, so what we have here is a 1992 ZR1 Corvette. From 1990 to 95, they created what was called the LT5 quad cam engine. It was engineered directly by Lotus in England and built by Mercury Marine in Stillwater, Oklahoma. There was a total of 6,301 ever made. As I said in some other conversations, there's probably about 5,000 left. This engine has 4 cams, 32 valves, 3 chains, and in its time, in 1990, it held 7 world records for speed and endurance. That wasn't broken until very recently. So with this engine, the technology that is here is actually a precursor to the Cadillac Northstar engine and some of the new engines that are coming out. Now, they're saying the new Zora, it's coming out in a few years, no one knows, there's lots of it on the Corvette forums and you'll see them, is theoretically designed with a 4-cam, 32-valve based engine directly from this design.
Engine, isn't it?
That's correct. It's designed off of, or it's built off this design. The reason this engine was stop made is because it's one of the most expensive engines ever designed and built and used by GM. It was the most high-tech engine ever put in a Corvette, ever, in history. It's probably one of the most high-tech engines ever built in an American car. And in 1995, they decided to build the LS1, and the LS1 had almost as much horsepower without spending thousands and thousands of dollars. The option for this car alone was $28,000. So you could buy a Corvette in 1990, 91. That's correct. So you could buy your standard Corvette for $29,000 to $34,000. This car cost $72,000, and when its heyday, when it first started, they raised the prices up to $110,000 because of the hype and the grandiose around it.
Now, what are you doing to it here?
Well, this car actually was a full burn salvage car. We went ahead.
When you say full burn, you mean
it burned the whole center console of the interior of the car. So this had
it would have been totaled, and
yeah, it was totaled. Okay. Yes, it was totaled. It was a total car. It was burned in the center. It was salvaged and it was going to be parted out. One of the things that I like to do is I like to get these cars that otherwise would not be saved to rebuild them. I hold a special place, and we hold a special place for these cars because there's not many left. They are very expensive engines. The parts are very, very expensive, and there is a lot of opportunity to tear these parts down and sell them because they're worth so much money. I don't like that. I
imagine the pieces would be worth more than the car.
They are, absolutely. Absolutely. So we've rebuilt the transmission interior, suspension, interior fiberglass, put a brand new red and black interior inside of it, new custom wheels, brand new rubber wrapped around it, and we actually just raced it at the Tail of the Dragon at Deals Gap, and it did very, very well.
So it is a completely functional, high performance race
Absolutely.
car now.
Absolutely. Why don't we fire it up? All right, let's fire it up.
All right. This is the fun part.
So the technology in this engine is far too much to explain. So you can just hear it.
Let's just turn it on and make it go.
Make some noise.
Weapon when it comes to making high performance cars even more high performance. So stand by.